Ina tana ki a koe. Ke whakatau iho te nui o umanākitanga ki runga i a mātou katoa i tēnei pō. Arataka ina mātou i tēnei huihuinga ki te whakaatu ki te iwi whānui i ngā neke hanga o tēnei rōpū. Kia tatatunu mai koe ki a mātou mo te roanga ke o tēnei huihuinga. I runga anō i te ingoa tautama, te kai whakaoroko i Ukraiti. Āmene. Nā reira he ngā reo e ngā mana, e ngā waka, e ngā tini kārangaranga, e koutou mā, ko hona mai i te purangi, e ngā rauranga tira mā. Tēnā rā koutou, ko tēnei te whakamihia kia ki te whakatau mai a koutou katoa ki tēnei whakaaturanga mo te hui a tau a te kaitia ki pūtea mo tāmaki mo taitoke rau. Nā reira haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. Pīkaua mai ngā maumaharatanga ngā aitua maha i runga i a koutou, ko Puhi Praone tēnā, ko Bill Plunkett tēnā, me te tini. Kua tangihia rātou, kua mihia, kua polopolo a ki tia. Nā reira me ki koea. Nā reira kia koutou katoku hono mai i te whakarongo i tēnei whakaaturanga. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.
Tūmo te ahuru, ko te wakatoi, whakawhirina ki, i ngā hupu whakare, tūne ko te ahi, e o tamaki here, o ngā waka o te tautokero. Kia tuti katupono, nai tato pinari, te ngā o te wā. Whakamana te reo, te whānau hapu iwi, ki o ranga mona, whaitanga kia tuti katupono, nai tātou ki ngari, te ngā o te wā. Ri te ngā o te wā.
Nā reira huri no roto i tēnei whare, me koutou katoa hono mai ni te upurangi, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou. Yep, you guys see. Yep.
Well, kia ora everybody, and welcome to our annual public meeting, the annual public meeting of Foundation North, the 30th annual public meeting of Foundation North. So welcome to you, to those of you who are here with us in our home here in Allendale House in Auckland. We have grantees, we have partner organisations, trustees, former trustees, and a number of our professional services providers. So welcome, a very, very warm welcome to you all. And welcome especially to those of you who are joining the meeting in Whangarei and who are watching us on live stream. A particular greeting to our friends in the north. So as you can see from the annual reports on your chairs, these beautiful stellar documents, today is not just an opportunity to celebrate some stellar moments from our business year, but we also want to take this really special opportunity to celebrate our 30 years of support for all of the great community work that goes on in our region. So today you will see 3 presentations. The first will be from our chair, Lynn Lim. Lynn will provide a perspective on the year from a governance point of view. I will then present my report as Chief Executive on some of the special milestones and highlights of the year for our team. Lastly, our Deputy Chair, Alistair Bell, will provide an insight into our Gulf Innovation Fund that is supporting innovation to restore the Māori of the Hauraki Gulf and that has provided the launch pad for our new innovation team. During the course of the evening, you will also meet all 15 of our trustees in 3 short video montages as they reflect on their roles, the Foundation's new strategy, and what is so special about the communities that they serve. Following the presentations, Lynn and I will take questions, and we hope that at the close of the meeting, those of you who are here with us in Auckland and in Whangarei will stay on to enjoy some hospitality and to have a slice of the amazing birthday cake that's sitting there, and we can continue our conversations. Before I hand over to Lynn, we will show you a brief video which reflects on the Foundation's connections to the diverse communities of Tamaki Makaurau and Te Tai Tokerau. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Foundation North's Chair, Lynn Lim, to give the annual report of Foundation North.
Thanks, Jenny. Kia ora tātou, and welcome to our annual public meeting. Every time I watch a video like this, it just makes my heart goes really warm, and I feel like tearing up. Firstly, I'd like to start with acknowledging our kamatua, Kevin Prime, my Deputy Chair, Alistair Bell, and my fellow trustees, whom you're going to see in the video montage later on. This is actually a very significant year for the Foundation. We are having our 30th birthday. And for that, I'd like to start with a little bit of history. In 1847, an asset was created for the benefit of the people of Auckland and Northland. That asset was Auckland Saving Bank. Over the following generations, the saving bank helped people save and invest and buy homes, and profits were used to do good things for the communities. 30 years ago, in 1988, a decision was made to sell this regional asset to the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. The proceeds from the sale were used to create a new asset for our region, a community trust, that could support the organisation and initiatives that make such a difference to the quality of our lives. Today, this community trust, Foundation North, has an endowment of over $1 billion. And this is from an asset sale of 500 million to start. Each year, this produces the income which allows us to make grants that was distributed out to communities in Auckland and Northland. And this is a perpetual endowment. By this, it means that the capital has to stay forever for the people of Auckland and Northland. And this is a gift from those who came before us to this generation and to all the generation who come after us. And this is something really to celebrate. Our 30th year was a big year. The highlights included the development of our 15-year strategy, and that is a very long-term strategy. We used to do it 3-5 years, and we decided to take a long-term view of life. Jenny will talk more about this in her address. We also have the milestone of $1 billion being returned to Auckland and Northland as grants. And we also awarded the single largest grant, $10 million, to the Auckland City Mission Home Ground Project. This new community hub will serve some of the most vulnerable people in our region. Our grant to the City Mission was just one of 722 grants made by the Foundation in the year to 31 March 2018. These total over $47.5 million. These grants supported many of the community organizations in Auckland and Northland who worked to improve outcomes for our communities, to protect our environment and cultural heritage, and to deliver the many events that bring us all together. We are well into our second year of our GIFT Fund. The GIFT, or Gulf Innovation Fund Together, was set up to support innovation to turn back the tide of environmental degradation of the Hauraki Gulf. We have so far made grants totaling over $1.6 million to support projects from prototyping to implementation. The amount that we are able to return to our communities have grown over recent years, thanks to the strong performance of our investment portfolio. Even without the City Mission grant, the size of our average grant rose by 10% this year to just over $54,000. Our assets now stand at $1.313 billion. As guardians of our endowment for future generations, the Foundation is a long-term investment that considers long-term performance. Over the last 5 years, our net fees performance was 7.9%, which was above the benchmark of 7.4%. We are proud to be one of the first New Zealand signatories to the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investment. These principles have shaped our investment policies and inform our investment decisions. I now want to thank all those who help us deliver for Auckland and Northland. I want to thank our trustees for their continuing commitment to safeguarding this amazing endowment for our community. Each of our trustees bring a unique perspective to the Foundation. And as you will see in the Meet Our Trustees video tonight, present in our memories tonight is Bill Plunkett. Bill, a trustee since 2011, passed away in February of this year. He remained committed to the Foundation throughout a long illness and will be remembered for his generosity of spirit and his deep connection to the community. During his time with the Foundation, Bill has made a significant contribution to our collective thinking as a board. I also want to make a special mention of some trustees who concluded their term just at the end of our 2018 financial year. And Unasa Alva, Mark Brickle, and Moy Milne, each of them brought their own singular strength to the Foundation, enriching our debates and helping us better serve our diverse populations. Trustees and staff were delighted with Moy's services to Maori and health, and that was recognized in the 2017 Queen's Birthday Honours when she was made an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit. I would like to thank our CEO, Jenny, and her team. This year has seen major changes for the Foundation, both in our strategic direction with the finalization of a new 15-year strategic plan and operationally with the implementation of our new funding hub, which offers more streamlined and simplified application and grant-making process. Jenny's leadership helped us navigate these changes, which position us to strengthen our contribution to our region and our relationship with many hundreds of organizations that we serve. Jenny is supported by a very able team who share a very strong commitment to the needs and aspirations of our community and our grantees, and continue to provide them with excellent service. Finally, we are unable to do our job without our grantees, so I'd like to thank our grantees. You do as much to make our region such a great place to live, and you give life to our vision, to enhance the life of all the people in Auckland and Northland. We, the trustees who came before us, are privileged to have served you in the last 30 years. Now, before I pass over to Jenny to give her report, I would like to introduce you to 5 of our trustees who's going to come out on the video: Alistair Bell, Bev Dillon, Romy Unanga, Tony Miller, and Kim Wright.
lots of people, changing faces, and so the challenges are all around growth and around change and diversity, and I think those things together make this a really great region.
See, Auckland is very welcoming. People are very friendly, and the face of Auckland is changing, and I would say this is one of the most multicultural cities in the world.
When you look at society, the way it is structured, we've got individuals, and the individuals have differing views on some of the things, but they come together, and when they come together, it becomes a more powerful body in terms of the way they think, in terms of the way they convert what they are thinking of into something that's doable. And that's the power of community groups.
The not-for-profit groups in our region are extraordinary, and I don't think our society would continue to operate if we didn't have all the not-for-profits. And I think it would be a big eye-opener if government and a lot of councils actually realised just what a significant input that not-for-profits make.
I think we have communities that are willing to give so much of themselves to improve the lives of those around them, and we're very lucky that they do that.
Thanks very much, Lynn. It now gives me great pleasure to give you the CEO's report for Foundation North. When I came into work this morning, there was a letter on my desk from one of Foundation North's grantees. The letter was from the Patamahoe Community Support Charitable Trust, which received a $5,000 grant from us in 2014. This grant helped the Trust publish a local history, Patamahoe History and Memories. The coordinator of the project, Kay Carter, wrote to say that she wanted to let you know how successful this project has been. Kay said, "I know time has elapsed, but the effects keep reverberating, and without the support of funding such as yours, our communities would be poorer for it." This was such a great reminder on the big day of our annual meeting of the difference that our grants, big and small, can make for our communities. The Patamahoe Trust is just one of the thousands of great community organisations that we have been able to support through our grants over the past 30 years. These are the organisations that keep our communities connected as the population of our regions grow and change. And what a privilege it is for us to support them. Reaching 30 is a significant milestone, as some of us might remember, but for us as an organisation. Over the last year, we've looked back over 3 decades and thought about what we've learnt in that time, how our communities have changed, and thought about how we can best support Auckland and Northland over the next 30 years. It's been a time for reflecting on the challenges and opportunities we have today, and a time for thinking about what the challenges and needs of our communities might be in 30 years' time, and how we might respond so that the grants we make enhance the lives of everyone who lives here. Auckland and Northland have changed significantly since 1988. 30 years ago, we served a population of around 1 million. Soon, our regional population will hit 2 million. We've grown in numbers and we've grown in diversity. In 1988, in the Auckland region, for example, around 75% of us identified as Pākehā, around 12% as Māori, and 9% as Pacific. Other ethnic groups were classed together at about 4%. Today, around a quarter of our population identifies as Asian, around 2% are from other parts of the world, including the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. And we know that in Mount Roskill, a 15 to 20 minute drive from here, over 120 languages are spoken on a daily basis. Auckland is one of the world's most culturally diverse cities, with 39% of our population born overseas. Auckland is more diverse than Sydney, Los Angeles, London, or even New York. So the world that we serve as the Community Trust for Auckland and Northland has changed significantly. As we look ahead 30 years, we will see more change. Our population will continue to grow, and technological, environmental and economic change at a national and global level will continue to affect us. It's hard to predict how these changes will affect how we live and work down here on the edge of the South Pacific. But who would have predicted in 1988, for example, that in 1989 something called the World Wide Web would be invented, and that this invention would have such a profound impact on our lives? As we have worked over the last year to create our new strategic plan, the big question for us was where to focus our future grant making. We want to be able to help our communities survive and thrive in this complex world where change is the only certainty. Over the next 15 years, the Foundation will return around $500 million in grants to Auckland and Northland community initiatives. We want to invest that $500 million in a way that will enhance the lives of all of us who are lucky enough to live here. And our strategic plan is a roadmap to guide us to do just that. As we looked at where our grants would have the most impact, we also looked at whether we needed to change our grant-making practice. In a changing world, we realised we needed to be more flexible and able to respond more quickly as new needs and opportunities emerge. When many of the challenges we face have no obvious solutions, we need to be able to support innovation that seeks new answers. That means changing the way we work, being open to new ways of doing things. Our gift fund, for example, is helping us pioneer a new approach to providing grants to people and organisations who want to restore the health of the Hauraki Gulf. We're able to provide small grants to help people prototype and progressively bigger grants that will allow innovators to build on success. You'll hear more about this shortly from our Deputy Chair, Alistair Bell. To make a difference, we want to have a sharp focus on the communities where there is the greatest potential to create positive social change that will benefit the entire region. Research carried out for the Foundation by the Centre for Social Impact identified a range of opportunities we have to make a difference with our grants, particularly in South Auckland, Northland and in our diverse communities. We want to walk alongside those communities as they build on their strengths to create a better future for the next generation. What we have learned since we were founded is that when communities are faced with challenges, they can find solutions. Our Catalyst for Change grantees and our Māori and Pacific Education Initiative partners demonstrate what can be achieved when you give people the opportunity and support to make change for good. The willingness of people to take risks and invest their lives to make a difference and to learn, build and succeed is a reason for great optimism for the future of our region. The contribution of the Foundation to the region relies on the governance of our trustees and the dedicated work of my staff team. I would like to thank our Chair, Lynn Lim, and our trustees for their vision, insights, hard work and thoughtful advice as we work together over the last year to think about how the Foundation could best serve our communities over the coming years. I'd also like to thank my great staff team, the successful introduction of our new funding hub and the completion of our new strategies with significant achievements alongside our business as usual support to applications and grantees. Thank you all for your commitment. I'd like to finish with a brief video which illustrates what can be achieved if we support our community's capacity for innovation. It's a quick overview of our Māori and Pacific Educational Initiative and an insight into the remarkable achievements of some of the organisations who took part. Before I pass you over to our Deputy Chair, Alistair Bell, I would like to introduce you to 5 more of our trustees. Precious Clark, Brian Corbin, Chris Severn, Michelle Shoy and Nari Ray.
I love living in Tāmaki Makaurau because my ancestors trampled on this earth for many, many generations. Part of the reason why I love living here now is because I'm connected to it through family, through growing up here, through community, through my networks, and I think Auckland in particular, it's the place I know better. It's got a pretty cool trajectory for where it's heading.
It's a maritime city, and I discovered that years ago when I paid a visit to Kansas City and was in the middle of the prairies and felt completely lost because there was no water. So Aucklanders have a great affinity for the sea, and we're really blessed by the 3 harbours.
We'll be contributing over $5 million over 5 years to enhance the Hauraki Gulf with our work on pest control, sedimentation reduction, seeding the Gulf with mussel beds. It's a little known fact, each mussel filters 300 litres of water a day, which helps get rid of sedimentation and takes all the minerals and nitrogen and phosphorus runoff from the farmlands. So I think we're doing a stunning job, and I'm privileged to be part of that.
I think it is marvellous that they can think very long term. And I think it's only by thinking long term that you can make a real change to anything. And having that commitment and that ability to commit to a long-term outcome would be something that future generation will be able to benefit.
It's multiple and varied, but it's really about supporting communities to realise their dreams, I think, which is pretty cool work to be involved in. Yeah.
Thanks, and it's now my pleasure to ask our Deputy Chair, Alistair Bell, to talk briefly about our work in the innovation space, and in particular the Foundation's Gulf Innovation Fund.
Thank you, Jenny. Chair Lynn Lim, fellow trustees, Kevin Kamarua, Jenny Gill in particular, and all her team, her staff, who are so important. And to everyone who's decided it's important to them to be here tonight, and our friends in Northland. Support for innovation is an increasing focus for Foundation North. It's a focus that's driven by the recognition that there are no easy answers to many of the big issues that affect us regionally, nationally, and globally. Where there is no obvious solution, we need to think differently, and we need to try new ideas, find out what works, and support success, and to accept the need to take some risks. To encourage innovation in Auckland and Northland, Foundation North needs to keep finding ways to be an innovative fund grant maker. We pioneered venture philanthropy for New Zealand with our Maori and Pacific Education Initiative and our Catalyst for Change program. We've innovated again with our Gulf Fund. This was set up to support people and organisations with ideas about how the environment of the Hauraki Gulf could be restored. We've called it GIFT, Gulf Innovation Fund Together. GIFT has a simplified application process and can support innovation from ideas to implementation across the system. We do it in 3 ways. Seed funding allows people to develop their ideas and project plans. Scale grants. This is scaling up from successful prototypes and draws on research and evaluation. And system grants to ensure the region gets the full benefit of successful innovations. Some exciting ideas are emerging from GIFT, and we're funding some excellent collaborations. And the GIFT grantees are forming their own community, learning from each other and finding ways to support each other's work. The next video gives a 2-minute insight into one of the GIFT Fund projects. It's the Te Tauki Voyaging Trust's initiative, which is developing a new generation of young environmental guardians. The program was developed in collaboration with Ngaitai, tribal elders and environmental specialists, also marine, freshwater and environmental scientists. It offered an in-depth 4-day science and education program that helped young people make the connections between what happens on the land and the impact on the Gulf.
So Rangatahi Kaitiaki 2018 is a pilot project that aims to empower our young people to become caretakers of the Hauraki Gulf. Anybody know what kind of bird? It was this real fusion of our own cultural knowledge specific to Ngaitai, but also shared amongst others and the voices of our scientists.
It's the way that not only the waka is used as a vehicle to transport their thoughts, to transport their actions.
We got into those more specific workshops where they went over to the stream and tested nitrogen levels, phosphorus, temperature, water quality, salinity, looked through the clarity tubes.
But it's also the marae that's used, the people that we have surrounding us and supporting us.
I mean, we got so excited when we saw the fund on the website. Just from the first glance how embracing GIFT was of innovation. We can learn in a really open way about what we've just done and then take it forward, and it may slightly step to the left or step to the right, and we can follow the modi of the project. I've spent so many years, probably 10 years, dreaming about a rangatahi kaupapa for this community that would bring our young people here and make them excited about their connection to this place.
So what we know as impact will derive when successful pilots such as this are scaled out across other and diverse communities to engage more young people in the life force of the Gulf. To help us build on what we've learned about innovative grant making, an innovation unit has been established in Foundation North. This unit will have a research and development and learning focus. It will help us develop new ways to make grants. The innovation unit is not just Foundation North being more agile in its grant making processes and policies, but it is that too. It's also Foundation North being more open to ideas and applications that may not have fitted the traditional grant-making frame. The Innovation Unit will prototype new ways of funding to accelerate impact from startups to established organisations. We intend that it will open the access door further. So it's an exciting time. Thank you to everyone for being with us on this journey. And finally, it's my pleasure to introduce our final group of trustees. In this video, you'll meet Daniel Narkley, our Chair Lynn Lim, John Slater, Mel Hewitson and Murray Broadbelt. Thank you.
I would say the diversity. I mean, you look around Auckland, you've got over 150 different cultures, and it's one great melting pot. And you know, that's one of the best things about Auckland, and I think one of the most challenging things about Auckland as well.
I'm actually very humbled by the number of volunteers that's out there. I'm very humbled by other people's passion for what they believe in. And it changed my perspective about community work. It's changed my perspective about what it means to live here, and the number of people who just give their time, money, just helping out.
We're trustees, we're here in a temporary capacity, doing what we can, and what we always focus on is the need to have the funding kept in perpetuity for the future generations. So we have a very responsible position to maintain the funding and provide for the future.
I think the most compelling thing about our new strategies is for the first time we're taking a significantly longer view. I mean, 15 years, I mean, that's materially more than what our strategies, you know, the timeframes that our strategies have worked to in the past.
The foundation does good, and that's the simplest way I can explain it. I get asked often, what does the foundation do? And I simply say, we do good by giving grants to not-for-profits.
Thanks, Alistair. And don't you love that idea of doing good? Everybody is in this room to do good, no matter what role it is we have in the foundation, whether we're a trustee, whether we're a staff member, grantee organisation, or people who work with us on our investments, or our auditors. We're all here to do good. So I think that was a lovely, lovely summary. We're almost at the end of our meeting, but we will be inviting questions, and I think we're going to have some questions beamed in from Whangarei and further afield. Is that right, Robbie? You're managing questions? Yes. Good. Great. So before we have questions, we have a final video montage. It is the people of this region, of Te Te Tokorau and Tamaki Makaurau, that make this such a great place to live. It is the people, the staff, the board members and the volunteers from countless not-for-profit organisations that make our communities strong, sustainable and vibrant. It is these people that we want to salute as we celebrate 30 years of support, because our efforts are nothing without theirs. Their work is often visionary, sometimes unique, and always life-enhancing. Foundation North is your community trust, and we are privileged to serve you. Thank you. So we have put a few minutes aside to take questions from the floor. Lynn's going to join me at the lectern, and we have a number of trustees and senior staff here. If the questions get too hard for me, I can give them to them. So has anybody got any questions for us? Must be a question somewhere. Oh, you have some from Northland. Cool. Right.
If Northland is one of the Foundation's priorities, why is there no physical presence in Northland more often?
Oh, shall I answer that one, or would you like to? Okay. Very good question, Northland. I think it's fair to say that we have a long tradition of always having two trustees based from Northland, and of course we have our kaumātua, Kevin Prime, here, who's got a long association with Foundation North. And we've had a tradition of having a constant, almost constant staff presence in the north. I guess a number of times, I mean, I'm looking at some of the trustees who've been around the table with me for a long time. We've looked at the cost of opening a Northland office and actually deciding that probably just having staff travel regularly is probably a better use of, you know, our scarce administration resources. Any more questions? Come on, Auckland. Whangarei will beat you to it. Oh, there's one at the back.
Craig Carter from Counties Manukau. We deliver community sport with Active, and I'd just like to thank Foundation North for their support. Just in the last 4 weeks, we've hit 75 sporting groups and community groups delivering, along with Foundation North, delivering to those clubs and upskilling them as much as possible. So we'd just like to thank you very much for your support, and it's greatly appreciated. And Kay Carter, I actually come from Patamahoe myself.
Oh, right.
So I know they really appreciated it, and they put out a great historical book on Patamahoe. So
Yeah,
again, thank you very much.
you. I mean, I thought that letter was really lovely because, you know, $5,000 to a group who are writing a local history is enough to get that history off the ground. And then if you look at the work that's being done in the sports sector, then, you know, we are able also to fund at a higher level in order to impact, you know, what did you say, 75 75 sporting and community groups just through one, in the last 4 weeks, just through one organisation. Yeah, so I mean that's the sort of hidden impact, I think, of the work that we do through the various groups that we fund. Another question, Robert?
Another question from Northland. What does the Māori strategy look like pre and post the treaty settlement? What is the foundation doing in that space? What does it look like after the settlement?
What is the Māori strategy? Well, pre the settlement, I guess we have looked really strongly at the needs of community on the ground, and we have a long history, particularly of funding marae development. I think post-settlement and in the lead up to settlement, we'd be looking really strongly at a partnership with iwi. Yeah, so that's we're really very keen on. I mean, I think Māori understand perpetuity. I mean, I mentioned to somebody from the north that we had a 15-year strategy, and they rolled their eyes and said, "Well, we have a 100-year strategy." So I think we're looking for a long-term partnership. We're an in perpetuity trust as iwi are, and we're looking for some long-term partnerships and some long-term solutions. Other questions in the room?
Peter Farfew, this is my first annual public meeting of the foundation. Question I had was probably for Alistair in regards to the innovation unit. Is he able to sort of mention one or two examples of the traditional grant making sort of frameworks or you know that the innovation unit will try to tackle, or one or two challenges that it currently has? I just want to sort of get a specific example, if I may.
Do you want me to do that, or do you want to do it? Do it. Okay. I think traditionally grant making. I mean, Kay McIntyre's in the room, who was a trustee before I was appointed, and really, a mailbag was literally dropped on the doorstep of this building at about 6:30 in the morning, and you'd come in the morning and the receptionist would be literally shaking a bag of mail onto the desk, and those applications would kind of arrive on the trustee's table more or less as the postman brought them in, and each application was treated on its own. What we've been doing over the years is trying to be much more strategic and deliberate about the issues that we've identified that we want to fund, but also work with grantees in a different way. So what Alistair was talking about through the GIFT program is we're constantly saying to each other, well, could we break our rules to make this happen? So it's about being flexible and responsive.
You can talk, Jenny, also about pest-free Waiheke, right?
Come on, Chris.
One of the things we're doing...
Chris, we need a microphone, sorry.
With the GIFT committee, which I'm a member of and very proud of, one of the things we've just funded is helping pest-free Waiheke, hoping within the next 10-15 years we'll eradicate, well, there's no possums there, but rats, stoats, mice, and turn it into the largest pest-free island in New Zealand, urban island in New Zealand. And also, obviously, Alistair with he's on the Motutapu Trust, we've got the Motuhi Islands Trust. We've just helped fund an exercise in Rakatu Island out in off Great Barrier. So we are committed. Those are the projects that we'd like to get involved in from the GIFT point of view, and we're looking at even more major joint cooperative activities with iwi further north.
I think in terms of the innovation unit, it's only been set up this year because that's new. That's in our new strategy that starts on 1st of April. But what we're doing for the unit is to use the learnings that we have from MPEI, from GIFT. The idea is not to fund the usual things that comes through our doors. So it's not business as usual. It'll be things that are different, things that are a bit risky, things that we can pilot We have the luxury of being able to say, we'll take a small project on, we'll try it out, and if it works, hopefully it'll get picked up by somebody else, because we can scale it up as well, and we can implement it, but if we can get other people to join our funding and leverage it, we can make bigger changes. That's the idea of the Innovation Fund. It's not going to be the usual arts, sports. We are looking for difference. What will make a difference to social inequity, to promote social cohesion, to change the environment for the better. We have a list of 7 things that we'd like to achieve out of 15 years. So that is what we're looking for, something that's different, not the usual stuff.
Another one from Whangarei. What does whānau hapu and iwi development look like in the foundation, and will Māori staff whānau hapu and iwi have a say in what it looks like for them?
That's a great question. We've actually just in the process of appointing a Pō Arahi, and she will be joining our team quite soon. And that role has a pretty blank canvas to work on and to work with our staff. I think over the past few years we've worked hard to grow as a team, and we've had te reo classes, and of course you heard our lovely Waiata before, but we really are looking forward to the leadership of our Pō Arahi, who we're expecting to join the team in the next month. Other questions, Auckland? Here we go.
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name's Lisa Bates. I'm here tonight as a trustee of the Royal New Zealand Ballet, but I thought I'd better ask a question just to even up the score between Whangarei and Tamaki Makaurau. I just want to acknowledge on behalf of the arts of Aotearoa, so not just the Royal New Zealand Ballet, but I have been involved in the arts in our country for over 30 years, and Foundation North have been absolutely outstanding at contributing to the arts sector, which, regardless of whether it sometimes seems like it's a luxury to a community which can be suffering, it is an amazing tool for social cohesion and a really amazing tool for bringing different cultures together in this wonderful multicultural island that we live in the North Island of New Zealand. So thank you very much for all the support you've given so far, and I thought your suite of communications was absolutely incredible. But please, our sport friend spoke here, and I just want to say, please don't forget the arts moving forward as well. Kia ora. Nore, nore.
Right. One more, do you think, Robbie?
Oh, that's difficult. They've been very busy up in Whangarei. They've got lots of questions. I might just roll a couple into a little compendium around governance. One is what help the Foundation is able to give community organisations with developing their governance, and does Foundation North have a vision to include youth trustees on their board?
All right. Well, the governance question's a lovely one, and we do have Alison and a number of the associates from our Centre for Social Impact here, and that's certainly a big part of the work that the Centre for Social Impact does with our grantees. I think increasingly across the country, governance has been recognised as being very important. I mean, it's increasingly important in corporate, small and large, and also in not-for-profit sectors. And it's certainly something that, good governance is something that we would encourage. And, when the trustees are looking at applications, it's one of the first things that many of the trustees will turn to is to look at the governance section of an application to see who's on the board, to check that, that everything's in order. But it's certainly something that we would really like to encourage. And the idea of youth trustees is really something that we could take up with the government, as our trustees are all government appointed. Responsibility for trustee appointment is delegated to the Minister of Finance, but I'm sure, Madam Chair, you might want to make a comment on that.
Well, my comment is actually we don't have a lot of choice in the selection of trustees. It's largely political appointment, really, isn't it?
But we can talk to the Minister.
I mean, we did have, I have to say that there is a plea to government of today that we do need people with skill set, because as the community trusts go bigger and bigger, and particularly with a trust fund of over $1 billion, we actually do need skill set in order to govern. And youth is probably enthusiastic, and probably someone would think differently, and that's also always welcome.
Yeah, but it's an interesting point when we're talking with the government of the day about a range of trustees and not representing our trustees, but perhaps a group of trustees who look like the communities that we serve. Okay, well, thank you. I think probably we'll move on to the next section of the evening. So thank you, Whangarei, for all those questions. I actually feel a bit like a quizmaster standing here, but thank you. So what we're planning to do now is to ask Matua Kevin to close for us and to bless our food, and then we would invite you to join staff and trustees of Foundation North to go and talk to at least 3 people that you haven't met before, and have a chat to them before you leave tonight. And once Kevin's blessed the food for us and we've cut the cake, we'd invite you to join us with us in some birthday cake. So thank you all for coming, and thank you to the people in Whangarei for joining the team up here. This really is a very, very important day for us. It's an important day every year, but there's a kind of something lovely about the 30th anniversary. So thank you all so much for coming, and I'll hand over to Matua Kevin.
We're actually 1 minute overdue. Never mind. Kia tau kia tātou katoa te ata whai o tō tātou ari ki ko iu karaiti. Me te aroha te atua, me te whiwhinga ki te wairua tapu. Ake. E ino tēnei kia koe pākia manaki ono koe ngā kai e hora nei mui a mātou. Manaki tino ki te katoa iwi e hui nei ko nei tēnei pō. I runga ni tingo tāutama te kai whakoro ko iu karaiti. Amen. Kia ora tātou. Kia ora.